Hopefully this picks back up from where you are, and I do apologize again. We were making some great points there. You gotta love this stuff. It's amazing how other people are able to go on the road and do stuff. I don't know how they do it. Hopefully you can see me again. Okay. And let me get rid of some of this stuff right here. Okay. Bam. Okay. So what I was saying before, for those who are trying to follow along with me and figure out exactly, Kim, where are you on this one? There is a formation fee of $149. There is a $595 N400 naturalization fee. And then there's an $85 biometric fee. So you're already looking at nearly $1,000 in fees. And quite frankly, with that starting out, you have to, if you're earning, say in a country where $40 a year is big money, American dollars, you have to save a lot of money. Okay, you have to save a lot of money to escape and get into your country, into this country. So apparently, most individuals who come into this particular country have something to give, quite frankly, and are worth something in the giving. They have a great deal of expense, and that's why they have the great privilege of being United States citizens. But what is the pathway for citizenship? What exactly is that pathway? Because you keep talking about it. You say there is. Marco Rubio, senator from Florida, says there isn't. Well, this is how it works. Okay? Naturalization is how immigrants become citizens of the United States of America. What? There's always a pathway? Well, yes, there it is. And it's not something new, people. Naturalization has been a part of this since the 1790s. People have always wanted to come to the United States. And remember, we talked about the 4 things that are necessary for someone to become a citizen of the United States. One, they got to be able to speak English. They got to be able to read it, and they got to be able to write it. They have to have good moral character. They have to have an attachment to the Constitution and continuance in living in the United States of America. You can't just party here and then leave for the weekends. You know what I'm saying? So the time for the permanent resident, okay, especially those who have green cards, and that's what they are, green cards for permanent residents, you have to be here for a certain number of years. That number is normally 5 years. Continuous residence actually looks this way. Continuous residence means that you have not left the United States for a long period of time. That means that you did not go back home to mama. You did not go back home to uncle or papa or sister and brother. You did not leave. You stayed here. People died overseas that were related to you, and you know what? You couldn't go back. You stayed here to show that you had an allegiance to the United States of America. So if you leave the United States for too long, you may interrupt your continuous residence. What if I was outside the United States between 6 and 12 months? Guess what? If you leave the United States for more than 6 months but less than 1 year, you have broken or disrupted your continuous residency. Now, we're talking about most wealthy people. You know, you make that, you're in and out. But someone who's working 2 or 3 jobs so that they can send money back home via Western Union, and as well try to take care of themselves and their family here. If you have and you are unfortunately unable to come right back, you lose your place in line. You're gone. I don't care if you were here for 4 years and you had to leave and you had to stay in Nairobi, Kenya for 7 months to get all the affairs of your family together. That's good luck. Stay there. You have to start the process all over again. Now, what if I was outside the United States for 1 year or longer In almost all cases, if you leave the United States for 1 year or more, you have disrupted your continuous residency. This is true even if you have a reentry permit. Even if you can get through National Ronald Reagan Airport, Washington, D.C. with your permit, it would make no never mind. You're going to be taken into custody by ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and you'll be sent back home. And the process gets started all over again. Now, this is the only way that you're able to spend nearly $1,000 to become a U.S. citizen and file your N400 form. You have to have 90 consecutive calendar days before you complete your permanent residence requirement. You have to be in one place in the city of Washington, or maybe Jacksonville, Florida, or Dallas, Texas, or Cleveland, Ohio, or wherever you are. But you got to be there for 90 consecutive days. If you leave during that process, oh, someone died in my family, I got to go back home. It sucks to be you. You start the process all over again. And now, continuous residence. An example of that would be an applicant became a permanent resident on January 1, 1994. She lived in the United States for 3 years, then returned to her native country for 1 year and 3 months. She got a reentry permit before leaving the United States so that she could keep her permanent resident status. The applicant re-entered the United States with permanent resident status on April 1, 1998. When is the applicant eligible for naturalization? On April 2nd, 2002. That's right. She has to get back in line to start the process all over again. So you can see there, a lot of individuals will be squarely upset with that particular process. But guess what? It's a privilege to be an American. It's not a universal right. How about good moral character? Well, let's go in and talk about the things that might demonstrate a lack of good moral character. And don't talk about Obama here, because some of these things actually, if you apply them, they fit very well. Any crime against a person with intent to harm. I want you to understand just that one thing right there. That would stop you from being a U.S. citizen and would send you home packing if the immigration laws were rightly enforced. Any crime against a person with intent to harm. That means if you happen to be carrying your knife and someone bumped you and you got angry and you said you were defending yourself and you cut that person with a knife, that was an intent to harm. You're going home. You're going home. Number 2, any crime against property or the government that involves fraud or evil intent. Fraud or evil intent. 2 or more crimes for which the aggregate sentence was 5 years or more. Do you know how many people are here illegally in this country who have committed crimes that they should be sentenced for 5 years, and they're still here? Still here. Amazing. How about violating any controlled substance law of the United States, any state, or any foreign country? I want you to see, this was an or, meaning that virtually, if you break any of these substance abuse laws, okay, you should be going home. But what about Ivan from Poland, who's selling drugs on the corner in Pittsburgh? You know, he's just trying to take care of his family. No, he needs to go back to Poland. Here's another one. Habitual drunkenness. Habitual drunkenness. For that one particular reason, you should be going back to whatever country you came from. Habitual drunkenness. If you have a drunken disorderly on your record, you should be going home according to what the U.S. immigration state administration says? How about illegal gambling or prostitution? How about polygamy? Yes, for those who are supporters as Democrat socialists of Sharia law, polygamy is not acceptable for an individual to enter this country with. Lying to gain immigration benefits. Lying to gain immigration benefits. All those young people who are in prison who happen to be teenagers at the age of 50 and 40 in those jails and holding sites at the Texas and Arizona border. Lying to get, telling people dream is their best option. Also failing to pay court-ordered child support or alimony payments. 6 months in prison. 6 months in prison, ICE should be sending you back from whence you came. Here's another one. Failing to complete any probation, parole, or suspended sentence before you apply for naturalization. Here's another one. Terrorist acts. Terrorist acts. Lastly, persecution of anyone because of race, religion, national origin, political opinion, or social group. Now I ask you, based on those things, someone who commits to Sharia law, someone who commits to jihad, should they be in this country? Not according to the immigration department. Let's talk about English. Everyone who wants to come into this country must speak, read, and write English. And here's the question that's addressed to the Immigration Department, Office of Naturalization. What if you're disabled? Well, guess what? If you're disabled, they waive it. What if you're old? If you are over 50 years of age and have lived in the United States as a permanent resident for periods totaling at least 20 years, you do not have to take the English test. Now, you do have to take the civics test for all of these. And last night we did a portion of the questions in which Mary Brockman did a wonderful job winning on. Congratulations to you. But you do have to take that civics exam. Now, lastly, we'll go over attachment to the Constitution. And then when we come back from the break, we'll talk about the Founding Fathers and this role. What does the oath require? You are required to declare your attachment to the United States, the U.S. Constitution, and to the U.S. in general through the Pledge of Allegiance. You have to give the oath of allegiance. When you take the oath, you must promise to do 3 things. 3 things. And this is what many people, even in Black Lives Matter, can't do. Those people that come into this country through naturalization have to do 3 things. 1, they have to renounce their foreign allegiance. You cannot tell me over the internet that you commit to ISIS and then tell me that you want to be a citizen of the United States of America. You do not. You have to renounce any foreign allegiance. If you say that you will serve the British and only the Brits, they relation are serving in the U.S. military. And guess what? The third thing is that you have to serve the United States. When required by law, you must be willing to fight in the U.S. Armed Services. You have to perform non-combatant services in the U.S. Armed Forces and perform civilian service for the United States. You have to do those three things to become a U.S. citizen. What is the oath of allegiance? I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen. That I will support and defend the U.S. Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by law. Second Amendment. That I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law. And lastly, that I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law. And that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. Listen to the last four words. The last four words. And it should tell you what your worldview has to be. So help me God. You can thank the Founding Fathers for that. When we come back, we'll talk about what the Founding Fathers thought of immigration and its role in the 2016 presidential election. We'll be right back with more of the best in Urban Conservative Talk.
Chef of Infused Restaurant, and today I'm going to walk you through some of the meals that we prepare here. So we're making a pizza. We use fresh Italian sausage and a cookier and slice it up. Our pizza dough is in-house made. The sauce is in-house made. So everything is fresh and green. This is our Thai curry chicken. The sauce is made with coconut milk and a Thai red curry. It is juicy chicken thighs as well as some mixed vegetables, served with jasmine rice and pita bread. So now we're going to prepare our famous blackened tilapia and grits, our fish and grits on the menu. And our meal will be complete. Let me tell you about our infused beef burger. So we keep the spice up just a little bit with our infused sauce. We start out with 80/20 USDA ground chuck ham patty burgers, nice half a pound of burgers, and we're going to grill it to perfection. After I put the burgers, we add the sauce and let it cook on it until we mix it a little bit. We're going to add a little bit of pepper jack cheese to this burger, spice it up a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful night to have some of the best food in America. 6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland 20748 301-449-9000. That's Infused Restaurant. It is one of the best places in Washington, D.C. To entertain family and friends and have a very wonderful and festive meal. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know how old you have to be under selective service to apply for naturalization? Well, actually, in applying for naturalization, you have to register for selective service between the ages of 18 and 25. If you are a male and enter the United States after you turn 26 years old, you do not have to register with selective service. But that's a question there. What is the general age of the individuals from Syria that will be entering our country? When you look nightly on the television news, they would like to present to you the image of an individual who's a woman with kids. But the truth of the matter is the majority of individuals that have left Syria, and the women are complaining bitterly about the fact that they have, are men between the ages of 18 and 25. They would be eligible for selective service. Well, by golly, that makes them a force to be reckoned with, right? Yeah. And that's why we're concerned in immigration about the source of individuals coming into this country. And that profusely the number and their age looks like a invading warrior or force. And it should be a concern for those who have the right to call it. But some people don't want to call it that because they see it as bigotry and hatred. No, the Founding Fathers saw it slightly differently. And in fact, this is what the Founding Fathers believed. The Founders' general position on immigration was one of assimilation, facilitated by dispersion of immigrants among the general population and adoption of the English language. Our Founding Fathers believed in three principles. One, if you're going to come here, you're going to be e pluribus unum, you're going to be one of us. There's no dual citizenship. The Founding Fathers did not believe in dual citizenship. They believed that you are either one or the other. Your enemy or you are a friend. You're one of us or you're one of them. Number two, dispersion of immigrants. You're not supposed to all be in one sector of a city, controlling that particular sector. You are supposed to be dispersed amongst the general population and assimilating into the American way. And then lastly, English. You're going to speak English. Escúcheme, no speak inglés. No, it's none of that. You're going to learn how to speak English. Welcome to America. You got 5 years. Learn English. When we come back, we'll be talking with none other than the wonderful guru of urban politics. Yes, we're going to release the KRAKEN. Ralph CHITTAMS joins us. We'll be back right after these messages.
Right swipe. It's gonna be a right swipe. This man has shaped his chest hair into a heart. Oh. You stole mine. Right swipe.
Right swipe. Right swipe.
That guy looks like my sister.
It does.
But I know she's not.
He's cuddling a kitten. Oh my God, I want to eat their faces.
Oh!
She's hot.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's a lollipop.
Oh, that is not a lollipop.
Left swipe.
Left swipe.
Look at you with your shirt off, flexing. You're buff, but you pop hashtag girl flexing. Yeah, you work out, you're in shape, okay. I like the six-pack abs, not the six-packs a day.
Came across a photo of this green-eyed hottie. Oh, nah, pretty face, tight waist, nice body. Hottie just couldn't overlook one small fact. She smokes like an old man at a racetrack.
This must be some kind of joke. You think you're my type, and I'm not type. You're good in a club smoke. I just left swipe, bye-bye. I just left swipe.
Let's swipe that.
Swipe, you gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Let's
left.
swipe that.
Swipe, you gotta swipe it left. This is stuff I don't like, so I gotta
Let's swipe that.
Mr. World Traveler, trips look expensive. Sitting on a mountaintop looking all offensive. I was about to ask, how's the air up there? But based on this pic, I guess you don't really care.
Lots of chicks in the pit, not sure which one's true. Them cigarettes are taking off from tens to twos. And one thing's true about your whole crew. None of you cigarella's gonna be my boo.
Smoking with a tiger.
Let's swipe that.
While you're on a hang glider.
Let's swipe that. Smoking with a healthy. Let's swipe that.
Smoking all stealthy.
Let's swipe that. Smoking with a duck face. Let's swipe that.
At a monster truck race.
Let's swipe that. Smoking at the prom. Let's swipe that.
Even in a photo bomb.
He don't care. Let's swipe that.
swipe. You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Let's
left.
swipe that.
Swipe, you gotta swipe it left. This is stuff I don't like, so I gotta
Let's swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah. Hashtag.
I'll never remember you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's that time of the night that we take off our hats. We find our right hand. There it is. That's the drinking hand. Yeah, there we go. We put our hand over our heart. And we prepare to do what all conservatives would love to do. And that's pledge allegiance to the United States of America. Will you join us with the beautiful, the brilliant Senora Cabrera?
Buenas tardes, niños. This is Spanish with Senora Cabrera. Today we will learn how to say the Pledge of Allegiance in Spanish. In English, we say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now in Spanish we say, juro fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa, una nación, bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. Muy bien. Practice your Pledge of Allegiance, and the more you practice, the faster you will memorize. I'll see you later.
Ralph Chittams, and we're getting that number right on in there. All right. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. Let's make certain that this works well. That's one ringy dingy. That's two ringy dingies. Three ringy dingies.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ralph Chittams, DC GOP Vice Chairman, and overall wonderful human being. It's a pleasure to have you on the air with us tonight.
It's always a pleasure. How are you, Mr. Conservative, Mr. Wonderful?
Doing extremely well. Did you have a wonderful holiday season?
Yeah, I did. It was very relaxing. Didn't go anywhere. Tried to do as little as possible.
Well,
Spend time with the family.
those are the best kind. I love those. Relaxation in this perfect form and perfect tense. Ralph,
Absolutely.
big news tonight, apparently. There is a sexual pervert on the Rome in America, and his name is not Bill Clinton. Apparently, all have turned against Bill Cosby, and it looks like he will be brought up on criminal charges for assault of a woman. Can you give us some of the details regarding that?
The assault occurred in 2004. There's a 12-year statute of limitations, and here they wait until the midnight hour before the end of the year to file the charges.
So apparently they must have the goods on him, because no attorney general would do that level of crime, or at least persecution of an individual. I mean, maybe Marilyn Mosby, but certainly no one would press this type of crime against Bill Cosby. Why are they going after Bill?
I don't know why. And no one anywhere in America can sit back and say they know why this is happening. Have gotten away with this stuff in the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah. And people forget about Roman Polanski, who sexually molested a child and left for Poland and hasn't been. Yeah, go ahead.
And you forget about Woody Allen.
Yeah, there we go. Woody.
And let's just throw the big elephant on the table now and get it over with. They're getting ready to put an alleged rapist back in the White House.
Not Bill Clinton. No way. But in all seriousness, I mean, the joke about Bill Cosby is the number of women he gave quaaludes to. The joke about Bill Clinton is he actually did it in a Oval Office and got away with it. So
and the governor's mansion.
Exactly. So why is it that universities aren't taking back their honors to Bill Clinton and asking him not to make any donations to their college and returning artifacts and things of that nature? Why aren't they doing that with Bill Clinton?
Well, I guess it's okay to be a fake black man who rapes women, but you can't be a real black man who rapes women.
Oh, okay, all right, as long as that's good. But there's a question there.
Wait a minute, for anybody who's listening, that was a joke.
That's a joke, people. Come on. Late night hour.
I don't think I'm being serious, so just bring it down.
But that's a joke, people. Our audience is wise enough to catch on that one. But why is it that black people are against Bill Cosby but love the heck out of Bill Clinton? Didn't they do the same thing?
No, that's a damn good question.
I listened to the Ebony Williams and all these other black women, and they're ready to hang Bill Cosby on an allegation that has summarily been resolved through civil accord. Bill Clinton raped a woman. Okay. And Hillary Hillary's not fighting out on that one. Okay, why is it that?
Let's understand very clearly. Hillary is complicit in the cover-up.
Mm-hmm.
And then for her to turn around and throw out these disingenuous arguments about a Republican war on women, she needs to take a stadium full of chairs and sit the hell down.
But would it be disingenuous for her to make any comment on Bill Cosby at this time period?
Oh, I think that she just needs to sit down and be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bill Clinton had waged a 30-40-year war on women. And she stuck by her man simply because she has a crazy lust for power.
Yeah.
And she knew that if she kicked Bill to the curb, she would be nothing more than a hit lawyer back in Arkansas.
At best. At best.
Right, and she probably wouldn't even do that because people have to remember that she was kicked off of the congressional committees for unethical behavior.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with DC GOP Vice Chairman Ralph Chittams Sr. And the first issue we broached, Bill Cosby. Of course, there's been this attack against Donald Trump for his remarks towards her. But with all of this, with all this conversation now about sexual gender, sexual, pleasures per se, rueful use of power and force and money to take advantage of women, are women shortchanging themselves by discussing these particular matters in the field of politics?
No, these issues need to be discussed because, truthfully, for too long, the sexual abuse and the sexual exploitation of women was something that was kept in the shadows. So, no, this is an issue that needs to be brought to light. It needs to be discussed, but it needs to be discussed honestly. Mm-hmm. And it needs to be discussed without to discuss them, but it needs to be discussed honestly and with some integrity.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Listen, the Tamir Rice issue is bubbling up, and it might be because it's just too cold for people to protest as to why they're not in the streets in Cleveland in full force. But regarding that particular matter of Tamir Rice, isn't it wrong for the grand jury, knowing what they know, to allow a killer like this police officer back on the streets?
All I can say is I saw the videos, and to me, this is just my opinion. I wasn't in the grand jury room. I didn't hear any of the testimony. I think that decision should have been a decision made by a jury.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people joke around. People involved in the court system in this country joke that, in this country you can get a ham sandwich and die if it's being kosher. Officers showing up, and within 15 seconds, this 12-year-old boy is dead in the streets. I think that decision should have been left to the hands of a jury.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to second guess the grand jurors because I wasn't in the room and I didn't hear, whatever evidence was presented. It could be that was the absolute right decision. And, unfortunately, under our American jurisprudence system, we have to accept that. And, now the parents just have to turn around and trust the civil courts.
Exactly. And based on the information that's been presented, especially the imaging of the gun, itself, which was supposed to be a toy gun and should have had an orange cap on it so that police would have been able to respond in a duly acceptable manner without deadly force. The reaction was according, and the grand jury determined that he had no other choice than to act in that particular fashion. But this leads to Chicago and the question about what the mayor of Chicago is doing about curbing deadly force. According to publications, the mayor has decided
Always supposed to be the last resort.
exactly.
So understand very clearly, all Emmanuel is doing is trying to save his bacon. Period, end of discussion. There are people lining up now saying that Emmanuel should resign that I never ever imagined would say such a thing. And you can put Al Sharpton at the top of the list. When he came out and said Emmanuel should resign, I almost passed that out.
This means he will not be invited back to the White House.
No, he's gonna get invited back, make no mistake. Because they all understand that this is just political theater. Emmanuel is going to survive this. He's going to finish his term. And all the black folks in Chicago are going to continue to vote for Democrats. This is smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors. I agree with you wholeheartedly. We're talking with DC GOP Vice Chair Ralph Chitthams Sr. live out of Wilmington, North Carolina. He's in Washington, D.C. Question for you regarding the DC ticket scheme. The proposed Vision Zero under the administration of the Queen of hindsight, none other than Mayor Bowser. In regards, $1,000 for parking ticket, $500 for moving violations. Is this her way of attempting to eradicate the poor in Washington, D.C.?
This is a way for them to put more money in the coffers of the D.C. General Fund to help pay for their welfare states. But what people also need to understand, it's just these types of onerous fees and fines that are used in places like Waller County, Texas, and Ferguson, Missouri, to criminalize behavior that is not criminal, that has resulted in a permanent underclass in American inner cities, because maintain a job simply for the sake of putting money into the treasury. And then all these Democrats want to talk about is the big bad white man Republican is holding them back.
Yeah.
But in this case, you have a Democrat-run city imposing fines that are going to cause people to get thrown into the criminal justice system. They're not going to be able to get a job. They're not going to be able to keep a job. They won't be able to get security clearance. And it's absolutely a sin and a shame.
It is indeed. And the ticket situation is a scam. It's a scheme by this particular administration to, without being able to toll people for coming into the Washington, D.C. area, to actually force individuals to use public transportation. $1,000 ticket for parking or rolling through a red light or rolling through a right on red, that would demonstrably destroy their economic welfare. Are they aware of what they're doing, or is this just intentional and they don't really care?
They have to be aware, but clearly they don't care. Because what you're saying is absolutely right. If someone only living on the margin gets a $1,000 ticket, is unable to pay the ticket doubles, you get additional fines, additional fees, additional court costs, then they go to jail. How is that person ever supposed to dig out from that hole in which they find themselves? So like I said, these are the type of fees and penalties that we see in communities across the country when we talk about, this county is a police track. Or, there are certain counties in Virginia I avoid because it's a police track. If you go through there, 8 out of 10 times, you're going to get stopped.
Yeah.
On some nonsense. And by the time you get finished dealing with it, you're going to be out of pocket $500 to $1,000.
Exactly.
It's a revenue enhancer. It has nothing to do with public safety.
And this brings up the issue because they got trapped this week with a news story on WUSA Channel 9 about the fact on Suitland Parkway. This is the administration hard at work. And in fact, Chris Ludwig said in the complaint that the only reason to have the differences in speed limit at these locations is to purge as much money from drivers as possible.
Absolutely. And also, what we also have in the district is we have cameras stationed in Maryland, on the Maryland side of the border, pointing into the district to catch drivers in the district to have them pay money into the district. Now, how can the district erect a camera in a Maryland jurisdiction to impose a fine on someone?
Now, are they being held accountable? Because Mary Che is supposed to be in charge of the Department of Transportation under the City Council in its committee. Are they going to be held accountable for this? Because she said last year that this was seen as a revenue enhancement, having all of these cameras, speed cameras. Is she going to be held accountable?
No, of course she isn't. Because the new fines that were just imposed here in the District of Columbia do not require approval of the elected officials. The District Department of Transportation, in their unilateral discretion, has the authority to impose these onerous fines on the people, and the elected officials can simply throw up their hands and say, well, we didn't do it. That's an administrative agency, acting in an administrative capacity, and so therefore we're innocent.
Exactly.
And everybody passes on their way to the bank.
Exactly. It just seems it's time for DC residents who are so donkey blind to wake up and smell what they have been shoveling or secreting for all of these particular years, that their own people are beginning to dice them in such a fashion as to really become a city only for the wealthy who happen to be liberal and Democrat.
Well, absolutely. And that's what kills me about living here in the District of Columbia. Everybody wants to holler and scream about, the white Republicans, but everything that has been done to Chocolate City has been done to Chocolate City by chocolate elected officials.
Yes. All of them liberal. All of them liberal. We have released the crack of this particular evening, and I want to give on this very last segment with the good DC GOP Vice Chairman Ralph Chittams the opportunity to regale in his white and green. I want to give you the opportunity, sir, to celebrate the New York Jets. Would you please tell us why we should be celebrating the New York Jets?
Because if you have common sense, you have to support. Man, that's the team right there, bro. Come on now.
No,
About the green and white.
you gotta go to.
And we do have the best steelers in the NFL, the New York Jets flight crew. Make no mistake about it.
Now the Jets did a almost impossible thing, and I have to ask you this: I know you were watching, when you saw the toss and it came down, and Belichick said to tell him that we're going to kick it. What were your thoughts, sir?
Well, see, that's Belichick and his arrogance. No, seriously.
Yeah.
That's still Belichick and his arrogance. He made the assumption that the Jets were not a good enough team to go down and score a touchdown. And therefore, when the Patriots got the ball on the second possession, they would go down, punch it into the end zone, and the game would be over.
Mm-hmm.
That was purely Bill Belichick's arrogance.
Were you shocked that the Jets actually went down the field and scored a touchdown?
No, I wasn't shocked. Because, the Jets really are a team that I don't think anyone in the NFL right now wants to play because they are really on a hot streak.
Yeah, they are.
And, I'll be the first to admit, Fitzpatrick has surpassed every expectation I had for him as a starting quarterback. I did not expect his level of play to accelerate to this level this quickly.
I'll be honest with you, neither did I.
I'm a Jets fan through and through to the heart. But I'm going to tell the truth. All right, when they announced Fitzpatrick as the starting quarterback, my initial reaction was, "Oh Lord."
8-8. That's what my thought was. 8-8. But congratulations. Congratulations. Whatever they are doing, they need to keep it up. They did extremely well. Congratulations to them. And also to the Washington Redskins on their victory on Monday.
Winning the NFC East.
It's the NFC East, my friend. And we're going to really show ourselves off this weekend when we beat the Dallas Cowboys.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't put any money on that.
You would?
And here's the reason why.
Okay.
Win or lose, the Redskins are going to be the NFC Least Division champions. They have no reason to play their starters and to risk injury in this game on Sunday.
Very well said. That's true.
So there's a very good chance that, you may see the starters play, the first half, and then come the second half, watch them start pulling their starters off the field to minimize or eliminate the risk of injury. There is no way in the world anybody with a brain is going to put any money on this game.
So who is the backup quarterback for the Redskins then? It couldn't be RG3.
No, isn't it the kid from Hawaii?
It's got to be somebody. You have just given me the inspiration to look up who is the backup quarterback for the Redskins.
They loaded RG3 all the way down the third string, and they have him sometimes at the practice squad.
Yeah, exactly. I can't see them letting RG3 because that means that they have to pay him the cap money that he's owed if he gets on the field one time.
Right. Mm-hmm. And if he gets injured, they owe him something like $12, $15 million.
Exactly. It's about $13.5 million they owe that guy if he gets on the field this year.
Right.
I don't think they want to do that one.
No. I said so. To all of my good Redskins fans, please keep your money in your pocket. This game is not worth the risk.
It's not worth
it. There's no telling how they're going to. If I were the coach, I wouldn't play my starters the whole game. The game means nothing. I'd play them for a half so they would stay fresh, so they wouldn't be, off the field for 2 or 3 weeks. But there's no way in the world I'd play them for a full game and risk an injury going into the postseason. I
agree with you wholeheartedly there. Ralph, how can people get in contact with you and help in terms of changing urban America? I'm
on social media, Ralph J. Chittams Sr., that's CHITTAMS Facebook and Twitter. Drop me a line at ralph.chittams@dcgop.com. And to all your listeners and to you and your family, I wish you a very happy and prosperous new year.
God bless you, sir. We wish you the very same. That is none other than the Kraken himself as we put him back in his bottle. Nonetheless, he is the Kraken. And I'm sorry, I keep calling him Doctor, trying to encourage him to go back. Ralph Chittams Sr. is just an immense gift to urban America. I'm telling you, he's going to be changing the world over the next 20 years. We're going to be playing out our last commercials of the evening. When we come back, we'll be speaking with someone who wants to change Baltimore, Shannon Wright.
Right swipe. It's gonna be a right swipe. This man just shaved his chest hair into a heart. Oh, you stole mine. Right swipe it.
Right swipe, right swipe.
That kind of looks like my sister.
It does.
But I know she's not.
He's cuddling. I can't. Oh my God, I'm gonna eat their faces.
Oh!
She's hot.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's a lollipop.
Ooh, that is not a lollipop.
Left swipe.
Left swipe.
Just must be some kind of truth. Make your mind tight and I'm on top. You're good in the club. I just left swipe. Bye-bye. I just left swipe.
Let's swipe that.
Swipe, you gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Let's
left.
swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left. This is stuff I don't like, so I gotta
Let's swipe that.
look at you with your shirt off, flexing. You're buff, but you pop, hashtag complexing. Yeah, you work out, you're in shape, okay. I like the six-pack abs, now the six-pack's a deck.
Came across a photo of this green-eyed body. Oh, nah, pretty face, tight waist, nice body. I just couldn't overlook one small fact.
She smokes like an old man at a racetrack.
This must be some kind of truth. Make your mind tight and I'm on top. You're good in the club. I just left swipe. Bye-bye. I just left swipe.
Let's swipe that. Swipe.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Let's
left.
swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left. This is stuff I don't like, so I gotta
Let's swipe that.
Mr. World Traveler, your trips look expensive. Sitting on a mountaintop looking all offensive. I was about to ask, how's the air up there? But based on this pic, I guess you don't really care.
Lots of chicks in the pic, not sure which one's you. Them cigarettes are taking y'all from tens to twos. And one thing's triple, got your whole crew. None of you cigarella's gonna be my boo.
Smoking with the tiger?
Let's swipe that.
While you're on a hang glider?
Let's swipe that. Smoking like healthy. Let's swipe that.
Smoking all stealthy?
Let's swipe that. Smoking with a duck face. Let's swipe that.
At a monster truck race?
Let's swipe that. Smoking at the prom. Let's swipe that.
Getting in a photo bomb?
He don't care. Let's swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Let's
left.
swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left. This is stuff I don't like, so I gotta
Let's swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
Hashtag. I'll never remember you.
Hi, my name is Christopher Arnold. I'm the executive chef of Infused Restaurant. And today I'm going to walk you through some of the meals that we prepare here. So we're making a pizza. We use fresh Italian sausage. And then we cook here and slice it up. Our pizza dough is in-house made. The sauce is in-house made. So everything is fresh and green. This is our Thai curry chicken. The sauce is made with coconut milk and a Thai red curry. It is juicy chicken thighs as well as some mixed vegetables, served with jasmine rice and pita bread. So now we're going to prepare our famous black and tilapia and grits, our fish and grits on the menu. Visually, and our meal will be complete. Let me tell you about our infused beef burgers. So we keep the spice up just a little bit with our infused sauce. And we start off with 80-20 USDA ground chuck, ham patty burgers, like half a pound of burgers, and we're gonna grill it to perfection. After I flip the burgers, we add the sauce and let it cook on it until we mix it a little bit. We're gonna add a little bit of pepper jack cheese to this burger, spice it up a bit.
Inspire, indulge, infuse, ladies and gentlemen. 6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland, 207-48301. 449-9000. Make your next meal an infused meal. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and I do apologize for all of the labor that you must go through to hear this program, to see this program. Am I at the jockey? I am in the process of preparing. I got a question from Mary, my bouncer, and if you diss me, you will be dismissed. And it goes along the lines of what's going to happen in 2016 for us. But before I even comment on that, I just want to say this to everybody. I am so very sorry that we are experiencing such technical difficulties from out of Wilmington, North Carolina. We're doing our very best. We hope that our final show this week from Wilmington, Delaware, I certainly don't want to be in Wilmington, Delaware. Wilmington, North Carolina is much more fortuitous for all of us. I am sincerely apologetic and hope that things will be repaired and improved. Now, I'm being asked about next month whether we will be down in South Carolina. I do plan on being in South Carolina. I also will be marching in the Martin Luther King Day Parade in Washington, D.C. and the Peace Walk. And I'm trying to get 40 Christian men to help me carry each a cross, representing the number of individuals who will probably, by June of next year, be considered unsolved homicides in the District of Columbia. In fact, there are over 155 people who have been killed in the District of Columbia this year, and a good 90% of those cases have gone unresolved. And so our hope and aspiration is that we begin to put more pressure on the Bowser administration. Boom, 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 get a job. Yeah, I'm sorry, Bowser. The Bowser administration to change some laws along with the city council. We're going to, in our Reckless Abandon March, we want you to be a part of that. You can go to the Open Heart Closed Case campaign, the events area under Facebook, to find out more details. We hope that you pass it around. Mary is asking if we're going to be at the Jockey Club in July, and for the Freedom Fest event, we probably will. We'll be looking at that. We'll be looking at as well traveling to Jamaica with Lonnie Poindexter in the year to come in 2016 as we fight pro-life wise. Also doing our very best to cover the big political races, the Texas convention. We want to try to get there with Dan. We also have CPAC coming up, which I'll have to attend. And as well, we're looking at the GOP convention. So there's a lot of stuff coming up. I need to talk with a whole lot of people to make certain that we have everything that we need. Pardon me, to get to where we need to be. So I do apologize for that. And do look forward to your prayers for us to get to where we need to be. This just cements our call. God is asking us to do a whole lot in 2016. I know where He's asking us to go, He's always provided. So we're looking forward to the provision, and we're looking forward to the success. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to introduce you to a young woman who is tearing down the walls in the good city of Bmore, the city of unbrotherly love. I'm just kidding. My very good friend Shannon Wright, who is running for the presidency of the Baltimore City Council. One ringy dingy, two ringy dingy, three ringy dingy, four ringy dingies.
Good evening.
Good evening, Shannon Wright. It's an honor and privilege to have you on our program once again.
Oh, it is an honor to be here one last time of this year.
Yes, indeed. And I hope that you and your family have had the very best of holiday seasons and with the expectations of a great new year.
We have, and I wish the same for you and yours.
Thank you so much. You are so kind and gracious to me. Now, regarding Baltimore, a lot of people may not realize this because so much attention is being put on Bill Cosby now, but 340 murders in Baltimore this year?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. It has been a busy year, and it is so sad and unfortunate. It seems to me that we'd be able to see the trend, see the pattern, and do something. Something. Baltimore or Maryland has one of the harshest, strictest gun laws, and yet Baltimore has one of the highest crime rates. Now, that would say to me that those strict rules, the criminals are finding a way around it. Because the only ones your strict rules are affecting are the law-abiding citizens trying to get guns legally to protect themselves from the criminals.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, it seems to me that something is awry there.
Now, a lot of people would say that, maybe it's the police who's responsible for some of this. If the police would just do their job and protect the citizens, then, we wouldn't have all of this crisis, Shannon. I mean, we wouldn't have 340 people dead on the streets of Baltimore.
Well, truth be told, it does not look that awesome for law enforcement to have this many murders, especially with the high amount of them that are unsolved. However, it is not also awesome for the folks doing these murders to continue to believe that they can do this and suffer no consequences.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than one issue in this problem.
Indeed, there certainly are. Now, you have made note of the fact that you are running for the presidency of the Baltimore City Council. What say you? What ideas do you have that would actually bring down the unresolved homicides and the homicides in that area? Is it something that government can do, or is it something that government should not be doing? What exactly do you see it at this point?
Well, I'm not putting the folks on the spot. If law enforcement could enforce the laws that are on the books, that would be one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if folks in the community started to act like folks in the community, that would also be a big help. And what I mean by that is, it's a multi-level thing. You've got parents that aren't parenting. So you got kids running amok and running the streets like little animals.
Mm-hmm.
You've got preachers that aren't preaching in the churches, so when you do get them to church, they're not learning nothing, they hear nothing except how you need them to make larger donations to be able to support your new Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
There are just so many different levels of issues of problems. And, you can't make everybody believe as you believe. And I understand that and I recognize that. However, we have to get back to some basic values in our communities.
Exactly.
You really do. You're looking at, in my opinion, the product of the breakdown of the family. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Period. When you have a two-parent headed household, and I never thought I would be one when I grew up, when I was young, I never thought I'd be one to say this. But when you have a two-head household family, mom and dad, that have some grounding and some foundation, you don't see, nobody's perfect, and I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but you do not see the prevalence of the issues that we see in our urban centers.
That's true. Very true. In fact, Judge, oh my goodness, I've forgotten her name. It escaped my mind just like her, from Pittsburgh. She came down for the event for that.
Judge Allen.
Yes.
Judge Allen.
Judge Allen said the very same thing in her courtroom in all the years that she was a Superior Court Justice in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The likelihood of her seeing someone from a two-parent household was almost nil. The majority of those situations happened in one-parent households. So is it simply that the government now find ways to regulate marriage to make certain that people are married? Or is there, in terms of a proposition, what would be the number one thing that you would like done legislatively that could possibly turn this all around?
Well, I would not suggest that the government stick its nose any further into the institution of marriage than it already has. I would not suggest that.
Good.
I would, however, suggest that the government perhaps discreetly and gracefully bow back out of that in terms of legislating something that wasn't meant to be legislated by government, and in terms of policy, passing policy legislation that disrupts the nature of the family. And what I mean by that is, when you look at public assistance, families are penalized when both parents are there. Financially, they're penalized. If the father's in the household, the mother doesn't get the benefits they feel they're accustomed to. Now, that's a subject that some people say we shouldn't have the public assistance system in the first place. That's neither here nor there. What I'm looking at is the way the system is structured right now. It is structured so that it is financially beneficial for the family to remain broken. So what I'd like to see happen isn't something necessarily for the government to do. Well, it is in one place, but what I'd like to see, there's actually a plan now called the Baltimore Plan, put together by some folks that I think very highly of here in Baltimore. And some of the things that they're suggesting are to try to restore the family. And one of the things that I personally am writing some policy on is to be able to get companies, employers in Maryland to agree to this. And what I'd like to see happen is for families that are on public assistance to abolish public assistance is to go to a whole other level of government. So we're not even talking about that, but on the local level.
Yes.
To see employers step up and say that they would like to offer a financial benefit to families that stay together. Now, here's what I'm talking about. If you look at the cost between Medicaid, housing, and food stamps for a family of four, a mother and three children, and then you look at the difference when that father is actually a part of that household. If we were to restructure on the local level, because you could do that, but without tampering with the federal mandate, if you were to reward instead of penalize, reward people for getting jobs, keeping jobs, and staying together, you see a big difference.
So instead of it being a stick, it's a carrot that keeps people in a more stable family unit and thus out of the systems of governance that exceedingly increase and request for budgets every year because they are made necessary for the instability of the family in the first place.
There you go. Yeah. I also believe Well, let's say you pay $1,000 in benefits for a family of four. That includes one parent and three children.
Mhm.
But let's just say you want to rework that, and that salary was there. And let's say there was a loss of, I don't know, maybe $300 a month. I'll just throw out some round numbers.
Yeah.
Now, what if the federal government, through the way that public assistance is currently structured, took that money away? However,
Mhm.
that municipality or that state, okay,
Mhm.
offered that family that money as an incentive, provided they did two things: co-parented their children
Mhm.
and became gainfully employed.
Mhm.
Now, again, it looks like on the surface you're talking about giving folks more money, giving more handouts, but you're not. If you go out and you get a job right now at Walmart, and let's say they start you at $8 an hour, and you keep that job for a year, or forget not Walmart, let's say in a union establishment, you're
Mhm.
going to get cost of living increases.
Mhm.
You're going to get all sorts of increases that your union has negotiated, all that good stuff. But here's the thing: as you get those increases, your benefits then decrease, but it doesn't matter because your income is increasing.
Mhm.
So, by instance, and here's my phrase: instead of penalize, incentivize.
Mhm.
So you reward people for doing things that generationally and traditionally they should have been taught to do on their own.
Okay. Would that be a long-term thing or is that short-term?
I would certainly put a cap on it.
Yeah, most certainly.
I
Now,
would certainly put a cap on it. But you got a lot of folks that once they get a taste of earning their own, knowing they're going to have their own,
yes,
and being able to control some of their own destiny, are not going to want to go back.
exactly. Very much so. They don't. No one wants dependency. That's the truth of the matter. Well, there's some people that don't mind dependency, but in general, most people who are ambitious do not want dependency, and certainly don't want no matter how it's given off as frills, do not want a lifestyle of being subjected to government intervention. And
No.
if there's a short-term answer for helping people over certain circumstances and conditions of their life so that they can more easily cross that bridge and become a more stable family, most certainly it seems an option for the individual city and state to consider, since it's revenue centered based on the actual state itself. Now, quick question for you. I know this will have nothing to do whatsoever with politics in Maryland, and certainly not in Baltimore City or County, but here we go. Bill Cosby in 2004 settled a matter with a young lady who was at Temple University. And this is why you do not mess with the chickens in your own coop. You go find another coop.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Was that helpful there?
I thought it was talking about healthy more than that.
But apparently, she has waited to the last hour, and the prosecution has decided that based on the unsealed court records of the civil case, that there is criminal plausibility here, and that Bill Cosby might be doing his next shows from Attica. Your comments and concerns regarding that particular matter?
It's not for me to judge.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for me to judge. That's number one. I do believe we have a criminal system and code for a reason, and I believe if laws have been broken, then something should be done about that. However, I think that oh, Father God.
It's just you and me. Go ahead, say what you think.
It's not for me to judge, and for me to do so would be unfair. I haven't seen the files. I've heard the media sound bites,
We've all heard the media soundbites, and those of us that have had a little bit more experience with media know that those soundbites really have a very low threshold for having to have some truth up in them.
Exactly. Exactly.
So for me to judge based on hearsay through the media is not something I feel comfortable to do, because I certainly would not want anybody to judge me along those lines and those standards. If I were more informed, meaning having read some of the court files and documents, I would sure have an opinion for you. But when you look at the fact of what he's accused of, for how long, and then you weigh that also against his age, and then you have to go back and really look at documentation, proof. I mean, there is a burden of proof.
Yes.
There really is. And there's a threshold for that. And having not read any of the documents, I can't say whether or not that threshold has been met. I've seen situations where folks have cried wolf.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of folks line up behind them saying, yep, that's what happened, that's what happened.
Now, I want to ask you on this regard, is all of this pretty much the result of our society's openness about consensual sex or thereabouts? That the sexual revolution has really begun to destroy the sanity and stability of our society?
I can't really say. I don't know how to answer that. I really don't. I can say this. I think that we are, as a society, are too focused on what goes on behind both folks' closed doors. There are too many things that go on in the bright light of day that we need to be focused on and paying attention to.
You're absolutely positively right. And what a good way to end the show, that we focus on those most important things and not Bill Cosby. Now, how can people get in contact with the wonderful Shannon Wright and help her in terms of her campaign to become the president of the Baltimore City Council?
Well, you can reach me on Facebook at Pastor Shannon Wright. You can reach me at ShannonWrightMinistries.com. And you can reach me on Twitter at PSW4U. Excellent.
It is always great to have you on Wednesday nights here. Shannon Wright from Baltimore City. There is change in the air.
And let your year be a blessed year.
You too. God bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our program for this particular evening. And when we come back to you tomorrow night, which is also a sneak preview night of the wonderful New Day Black and Red, we will also be able to give you a closing on immigration. And it's amazing how quickly you are pointed to by both Republican and Democrats that there is no pathway to citizenship. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a pathway. And if we would allow the courts to get out of our way and allow the president to do absolutely nothing more than enforce the law and allow some congressmen to do what is right, not in their own eyes and what's in their own coffers, but what's right for the citizenry called we the people, I think the immigration problem will be resolved very quickly. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, a man once told me to live bravely and to never be a coward. I promise you I always will. I want you to always remember, without a shadow of a doubt, God has blessed America. Now it's time for America to bless God. We'll see you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. At 10 p.m., the good doctor, Michael Jones, will be joining us, Mr. Underground Professor himself, and more of the best of urban conservative talk in the most influential sphere of conservative talk in the world, the Exceptional Conservative Show. Love you, peace, we're out.